I was 30 seconds from being stranded in the middle of Montana. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Methamphetamine still ran in my system. A few crumpled dollar bills in my pocket from a check cashing scheme. Nothing on my feet but flip-flops. And I was holding a box of day-old donuts that I had begged for, like that was going to save me. That night, I wasn't just losing a bus. I was almost losing my last shot at getting out alive. Up until that moment, I always related to the older brother in the prodigal story. The one who always had his shit together. The one who was looking out for everyone else. But that night, this night, I felt like the prodigal son. And it was time for me to stop digging, to stop running. So if you're watching this, and you've ever felt like you were blowing your one way out, drop a comment that says, I'm still here. It's just a small thing, but it tells me and the algorithm that people like you, that people like us, are still in the fight. In my last full episode, I told you about how I had hit rock bottom, how I had been sleeping in detox centers, getting high with my wife, lying to my family, and trying to hold it all together while everything fell apart. I talked about wandering through Spokane with nothing but a pair of flip-flops and gym shorts, begging for donuts and water any place I could. Always looking for a place where I could charge my phone, just in case that phone call, that magical phone call that I was looking for, ever came. Here's the part that I left out, how I almost missed my only shot. So how did I end up in Montana, broke, high, and seconds from being left in the middle of nowhere? Let's go back to those flip-flop wearing days. It's 95 degrees outside, tank top, shorts, flip-flops, everything I owned in a backpack, walking into donut shops, asking for any leftovers they might have. And that's how desperate I was. I had become the guy that I never thought I could have imagined. I had become the guy that I always looked down on. Yeah, that was me. And I would sit there, choking down those crusty old donuts. And I finally decided to call my brother. For the first time in a very long time, I told him the truth. I didn't cry. I was too numb to cry. I was too dehydrated to cry. But I finally said it out loud. I finally admitted that I was in the free fall that everyone was suspicious of. And it felt like something cracked open. So this is where I'll refer to the story of the prodigal son. Luke 15:17 says, but when he came to himself. That line gets me now because I get it now. Because that was the moment, sitting on that curb, calling my brother, that I finally came to myself too. I had always seen myself again as that guy who always had it together, who looked down on the people who were making mistakes, who were using drugs and sleeping around. That was everyone that I looked down on, and imagined myself never being able to become that person. I was the guy who held it together all the time, even in the midst of chaos and craziness. But that day, again, I was the prodigal, holding those day-old donuts and wondering if I had wasted everything that I had worked for. And talking to my brother on the phone, he said, let me get back to you. A few minutes later, he called me and said he had talked to my dad and they were willing to buy me a bus ticket to come from Spokane to Colorado, to get clean, to start moving forward in a different direction, to get out of the mess that I was in. But I wasn't ready. I still hesitated. He said, let me know. We're here and we're ready to help you. A day or two later, I was called into a meeting with my lawyer, the CPS worker, and a family counselor. I was scratched up by my ex-wife. I was disheveled. My hair was a mess. I was unshaven. I probably smelled terrible. And I looked like I had been in a fight. My lawyer looked at me and said, if you don't get your act together now, you're going to lose your kids forever. And you may never see them again. We were counting on you, Andrew. You were supposed to be the one to keep your shit together. But now you're the one falling apart. And that was my wake-up call. That was the moment that I finally realized that I have to do something. So sometimes wake-up calls don't come from heaven. They come from courtrooms and tired voices. So right after that, I called my brother back. And I said, buy me the ticket. Let me know when, and I'll come. And they got me the bus ticket. And my brother even lined me up a job and said I could stay with him for as long as I needed. My dad and my brother, they didn't ask for explanations. They just made a plan and gave me a shot out. Grace didn't always look like an altar call. Sometimes it looked like a one-way bus ticket and a job with your brother's friend. One of my favorite verses of all time is Psalm 40, verses 1 and 2. And it says, I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the pit of destruction, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. That verse, that's my story. But first, I had to stop digging. Here's my call to you. If someone ever decides to throw you a lifeline, take it. And if you're in a place right now where you need one and someone is offering it, again, just take it. Take the risk. Actually, there's no risk involved at all because that is your way out. And if you are that person or you know that person, send this episode to them, give it a like, and drop a comment down below. You just might be the brother they need now, and maybe I'm the brother that you need. There was still a day and a half until that bus left, so I decided to make the most of the time that I had left in Spokane. Not doing good things, not trying to get anything worked out, but going for one last binge, one last crazy ride. And I ran into my ex-wife and one of her friends, and they pitched me a scheme. Fake checks, fast cash. I knew it was shady, but I did it anyway because I didn't have any money in my pocket. And I ended up with a few $100. And what did I do with that? Again, I didn't use it for anything good. I went to the casino and blew it all. Well, all of it except for the last little bit that I needed to get high one more night. That was another crazy ride that involved car chases and guns being drawn. Not anything I'm proud of. But even so, here I was with a way out right in front of me, and I'm still trying to self-sabotage it because inside of me, there's still a part of me that doesn't want to get out. There's still a part of me that's addicted to this life, that's addicted to my ex-wife, that's addicted to drugs, alcohol, the whole 9 yards. I kept trying to burn that bridge because I didn't believe that I deserved the grace that was being offered to me. Or maybe I just didn't know how to live without the chaos. Addiction convinces you that destruction is your home. Even when God hands you a map, you try to set it on fire. So even after all that, I still made it to the bus. And I got on that bus in Spokane, Washington, late at night, took off down the road. I got everything that I can carry in my backpack. I got a few bucks left over from the check scheme in my pocket, and I jumped on that bus. We pulled into a gas station / casino in Montana. I wandered in, decided to take my chances, pulled the slot lever. Pretty soon, time went by, and I realized, oh crap, I'm supposed to be on a bus. So I went sprinting out of that casino, and I could see the bus pulling away, and I had to chase it as fast as my legs could carry me in, again, nothing but a pair of flip-flops at 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Montana. I sprinted. I barely made it. I banged on the door. The bus driver looked at me and graciously decided he was going to pull over and let me get on that bus. He didn't have to. He probably shouldn't have, but he did. I can't imagine where I would be without it. And that's how I ended up in Montana. Completely broke. Filthy. Destitute. Running from the only thing that could save me. And again, it was only God's grace that got me. And in case you're wondering, yes, I did make it to Montana. But what happened there? That's next week's story. So if you're in the pit right now, stop digging. If you're holding on to secrets, shame, or the idea that you can climb out alone, drop it. I've been in that pit, and I know the way out. And it starts with a single honest step. Drop a comment below that says donuts, and I'll know what you mean, and I'll reach out. Share this with a man who's about to throw away his second chance. And while you're at it, give the video a like. And if you're ready to rebuild, reach out to me at thedangerousgentleman.org. And next week, I'll show you what happens when the bus stops and the healing begins. So if you like this content, please give it a rating, a review, and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me and what I'm all about and what I can maybe do for you, check out my website at thedangerousgentleman.org. That's thedangerousgentleman.org. Thank you for listening.